You're at a party, you're having a great time, people are laughing, you're connecting, you're meeting new people, and then someone says to you, "Hey man, how old are you?" And you drop the bomb, "I'm 38. And everybody stops. "What? No way are you 38. I pegged you no more than 31, 32, 33 max." I don't have to imagine that scenario because it happens to me all the time. In fact, I was just on a call with a guy that I've been working with. He's been part of the Powerhouse Man community and part of the training programs for some time. And, he's moved up now to a one-on-one coaching scenario. And he said, "By the way, how old are you?" And I'm like, "I'm 38. He said, "No way. I didn't think you were more than 32, 33. And this has happened to me numerous times. He said, "You have youthful energy." And I'm like, that's that semen retention, baby. I'm going to talk to you in this video why the practice of semen retention gives you youthful energy and is ultimately the real fountain of youth. Let's dive into it. Hi, my name is Nakula and I help men master their S3X energy so you can become a powerhouse both in and outside the bedroom. Go to the link in the description below and take the free S3X transmutation guide. This is a free program I put together for you so that you can learn this process of transmutation. Because it's not just about retaining, but it's about learning to consciously move into your S3X energy and use it to expand your life. People all around the world from time immemorial have sought after, have risked their lives for the fountain of youth. This mysterious fountain of youth. Is there a secret to immortality? And of course, from a spiritual perspective, we know that there is, but it has nothing to do with the physical body. It has everything to do with your consciousness. But still, while we're in this physical body, we want to live as long as we can. What a blessing it is to have life. What a blessing it is to be in this human form. And why wouldn't we want to extend it as long as we possibly can? Well, the way that you extend your life, according to Ayurveda and the Eastern mystics and the spiritualists, is to conserve your S3X energy. So your S3X energy is your youthful energy. It is your drive. It is your force. In fact, there's been some studies to show that when people stop having S3X, that they start to deteriorate. There was one study that showed that Alzheimer's was started to reverse or slow down as people have S3X. So there is some indication that says our S3X energy and our S3X activity has a direct correlation with longevity. And this is because S3X is a basic function. Now imagine that you're sitting there and you're constantly depleting your life force and energy. Maybe you're ejaculating every day or a few times a week to adult content online. Maybe you're having lots of S3X, but you're constantly ejaculating. Now S3X actually is proven to increase testosterone, which is also going to help increase lifespan. But most importantly, it's that energy that's created. As a man practices semen retention, he keeps all of his best proteins, enzymes, and nutrients within his body. He circulates it in his body because the body, unlike us who are, sometimes inefficient, nature is not that way. See, we can be wasteful. We can do all kinds of things that are outside of the laws of nature. But the body itself follows karmic law. It follows the laws of nature, and it doesn't waste anything. It recycles everything, including the semen, which is your vital life force. And this is both true for men and women, but especially as a man, as the producer of the seed with the sperm. Now, the sperm itself, imagine how much energy is just in one single sperm. One sperm mixed with the egg in the proper environment, multiplies itself trillions and trillions of times into a human body. Now imagine all that energy and if it was kept within you. You see, as that energy is recirculated in the body, and I'm not just talking about the physical aspect, I'm talking about the actual energy. Now, if you think, well, what do you mean by that? Because I know some of my haters and some of the skeptics are like, nothing happens, just sperm just gets broken down and that's it. It's pissed out. First of all, that's completely wrong. But anyways, what they don't understand is that there's a physical aspect and an energetic aspect to this. So those who are too materially minded, they only think in the physical way. They can't understand this concept because they're like, nothing happens. What's the point? But now let's take your two hands and start rubbing it together. There's a physical aspect to this process. I'm rubbing my two hands together. That's the physical aspect. My life hasn't changed. I don't have any more or less energy than I did before, except when I rub my two hands together, what's created? Heat. That heat is energy. That heat can be felt off my hands right now. Now imagine if that energy was harnessed. Think about, I use this example often in my other videos, think about water turning into a gas. Ice, water, gas. They're all the same makeup in a chemical way or in the compounds, but as it goes through different environments or different levels of heat, it is expanded. So we go from a solid to a liquid to a gas. That is the laws of nature. Similarly, your semen goes through the same process where it goes from a liquid, but the production of that liquid, just like me doing this, produces an energy. So your semen, as it's produced, produces S3X energy. And that's often what you relate to as being horny, right? Like, I gotta get some. It's S3X energy. It means your body is priming itself, if you will, to have a baby. That's what it's doing. It's not priming you to watch something online. It's not priming you to go on Tinder and swipe a bunch of times. It's not priming you to put your hands down your pants. It's priming you to have a baby. And once you realize this, you go, oh, okay. Now, if you're not having a baby, then generally there is no reason to ejaculate. Now, that's generally not true in the sense of how we relate to S3X in this world today. Because as human beings, we do have S3X for more than having a baby. So unless you are completely, like a monk, or you just are going to be like, oh, I'm having a baby, that's it. I know one spiritual teacher that was asked the question, well, what about S3X? And he just kind of says, oh, well, have a baby, and that's it. Now, for most guys, that's just not going to be the reality for them. So I think while that is a very truthful advice, I also think it is not very practical in today's age in the conditioning that we have. Because the reality is we do have S3X for pleasure. We have it for connection. And there's a lot of reasons that we're having S3X for other reasons. Status. Women have a lot of S3X for status. They can use X3X to get a man who is of a higher position in life as they perceive it. S3X for men is used for power, to feel a certain way. So we have to understand that our S3X energy and our psychology go hand in hand. And the more that we understand it, the more we can use this energy in a beneficial way. Just like athletes, for example, Mike Tyson, who did 5 years of celibacy so he could become heavyweight champion of the world. Olympic athletes that have no S3X, no ejaculation, no self-pleasing 30 days out before a competition. They are using that energy in a conscious way. And that's what I teach you to do. The thing is, you can't be compulsive. Just because you feel horny doesn't mean you should let it go. As you retain and practice this lifestyle of retention and you start to regulate your S3X activity, especially your ejaculation. Now, if you're like me, you're married, you're in an S3X active relationship, I haven't slowed down the amount of S3X I've had, but I have regulated my ejaculation, so I have non-ejaculatory sex, non-ejaculatory orgasms. I've learned this process of alchemy to be able to extract that heat, that energy, circulate it through the body, and use it as motivation, no different than what Steve Jobs did, Mahatma Gandhi did, or Mike Tyson did to reach massive levels of success. And what's amazing is year by year, it gets easier and easier, and it continues to keep me young in spirit. And that's the most beautiful thing about this practice. There's amazing things about this practice. There's so many benefits. But one of the things that I've really noticed is how I still feel like I'm 20. I still feel like I'm, the same ambition I had as 20 years old I have today. In fact, I would say I even have more. I have a tremendous amounts of energy, focus. I have a tremendous amounts of ambitions of what I want to do in the world. And a lot of guys my age, older or younger, don't have that anymore. They're like, I used to be that way when I was 20 years old. I used to, I could, stay up all night, go to the party, go to work. I can still do those things. And that's because your S3X energy is your internal fountain of youth. Your S3X energy gives you your charisma. It gives you your drive. It keeps you young. It keeps your eyes bright. It keeps you rejuvenating yourself. It regenerates your cells. And that's why it's so important that you take this practice on and you reject the modern messaging that the mainstream media and culture is delivering, where they're encouraging you to ejaculate. They're encouraging you to watch adult content. They're saying it's normal. It's even healthy. It's lies. And that's how this world works. It works on lies. It works on deception. But for those who can see through those lies and deception, we have the opportunity to create a wonderful life for ourselves. And not just for ourselves, but the people we're connected with. Because you matter. Your actions matter. That's the problem with the messaging of today's world. It's the problem. It's the real problem with adult content. It's the real problem is in our hearts of how selfish we live. And we live in this illusion that we don't matter or that your actions don't matter. One person said to me, what does it matter if I'm watching adult content online? It doesn't hurt nobody. That is bullshit. Of course it hurts somebody. Well, first of all, if you're not your best version of yourself, if you're not improving, that affects everybody you're connected with. You think you live in an illusion if you think your actions don't affect the people around you. You know who people know this the most? People who have tried to attempt suicide and failed. They recognize how much they were going to hurt the people around them. It's a lie to think that your actions, even if someone's not seeing them, doesn't matter or doesn't have an effect on the quality of life. So when you hurt yourself, you hurt everyone. Because you're connected with everyone. It's time to be responsible. It's time to understand that your life isn't just yours. I mean, and I've been super selfish in my life, so I'm not sitting here because I'm a saint. I'm telling you this from my own pain and experience. Your actions matter. You matter. And it doesn't matter if someone knows what you're doing or not. Energy doesn't lie. Consciousness doesn't lie. You can lie materially. You can trick people. You could tell everybody you're just this great person when you're really not. But it shows up. I love in the Bible when it says everything done in the dark will come to light. Meaning eventually it'll come up. And if it doesn't show up in the way you think it will, but it shows up in disease, so much of people's disease, in my perspective, actually comes down to the fact that they're living they have things within them in their consciousness that they're holding on to that need to come to light. So much of our problems is because we forget that we are connected, that we are interdependent. No one is fully independent and no one is fully dependent. We are interdependent. So when you're sitting there and you're watching adult content, not only are you hurting yourself, which is also hurting all the people you're connected with. If you're a husband and you're watching adult content, you're hurting your relationship. If you are a father and you're watching adult content, you are hurting your kids because you won't be able to show up to your kids as your best self. You won't be able to be a strong man to set a good example and foundation. It'll be in your energy. You won't even have the energy to know what's going on with your kids because you'll be distracted. If you're a brother, then you won't be the best brother you can be. It shows up in your work when you can't produce at the level you can produce. So when your company has to do layoffs or when your business isn't doing so well, you've played into that. You're also hurting those people on the screen. Many of those people on the screen are in very negative situations. They're doing drugs. The industry itself is toxic. It's not a healthy industry. It's run by gangsters. It's run by people who exploit people. It's run by people who have no moral compass. It's run by hurt people. And hurting people hurt people. So this idea of staying youthful is much deeper than just, I want to be young. It's, I want to be youthful in my energy so that when I'm in my 80s and in my 90s, I can still live life. I can show up every day and be happy. I can show up with energy. I can allow my gifts to come through. And when I say me, I mean you. I'm saying you should be saying this to yourself. Why do I want to take this seriously? Because you deserve it. And the world deserves it. And not only does the world deserve it, it needs it. The world is suffering right now. Anybody can see that we're going through very turbulent times. And your actions matter. So if you want to stay young, if you want to be the absolute best version that you can, then take on this practice of semen retention. Take the free S3X transmutation guide as a starting point to help you understand more. They've got routines there to help you. Transmuting your energy is an active process. You can't do this passively. Or be like the rest of men out there who are going to laugh, ignore it, who are going to be like, bull, who are going to buy into the nonsense of the mainstream culture and essentially get enslaved by the matrix, enslaved by the systems and processes which care nothing for you. They see you nothing as more than a number on a sheet and somebody to make money off of, somebody to steal their energy. Don't let your youth just disappear on nonsense. We're all getting older. Nobody's stopping that. But why help the process along? Practice semen retention. Practice this art of alchemy that I teach. Stay youthful, and let's have a great life. I'll see you in the next video.